Hello everyone, hope you're well. So today what I'm going to do is just go through a pressing trap that I've been using in a couple of formations. So obviously when I'm talking about a pressing trap, what I mean is sort of just steering the opposition in a certain sort of direction, so that way I can win the ball in an area that I want to win. So what I've been doing is, you've been using this in the 4-3-3, and I've been using it in a 4-4-2 2 DM as well. I think to play it, you probably do need at least one DM, just to win the second balls, in case you don't win the ball in the midfield area. So the idea then is just sort of steer the opposition outside. I'm not using any sort of defensive instructions at all. I'll just let this on standard. You could possibly go in there if you really wanted to, but I think it's just fine with the way it is really. So on this formation here, I do actually use the force opposition outside. So it just seems to work the way with the different formations. Obviously these guys here, I think, are a little bit higher up, so they sort of engage players a little bit earlier. So what I've done is just use a combination of personal instructions and then opposition instructions. So what I'll do then is basically I'll get these guys here to close down more and tackle harder on the wings. So the ball comes out, we close down there. We've got the Rome position, we've got closed down more on the striker here, so we'll start engaging defenders. And obviously we're sitting in like a mid block, so it's going to be sort of around this sort of area. He's going to start engaging the sort of defenders or anyone who's got the ball. What we do then is use the opposition instructions. So what we do is we tight mark the centre backs, so that hopefully the striker, with the pressing instructions, what he does is kind of around where the centre backs are, and makes it sort of hard for them to sort of play out. So then what they're forced to do is then play out to the fullback. So once the fullback's got the ball, then what we do is then that triggers the press once they've got the ball. So that, in combination with the tackle harder and the close down more, will mean that the wingers then will start to engage them fullbacks. What we then do as well is we'll also force the opposition inside. So these two here, so if you're playing on the left, they're playing on the right back, sorry, we force them in onto their left foot. So this way then what we do is we're kind of forcing them, they've got the ball here, kind of forcing them to have to try and, the angle that he'll press from, this player's stuck, the angle that he'll press from will come from sort of outside, and that'll force him to come inside there. And then obviously what we've got then is we've got these players here, these are all marked here, so these are marked here, so the defensive midfielder and the midfielders here are marked, and then the strikers are marked as well, which I'll explain in a second. So these here, I haven't got tight marking on these guys. It hasn't really been needed. It's worked fine. So these guys will sort of mark the passing options for the left back off. So he's either going to have to sort of try and pass it down the line. Usually that will involve sort of going a little bit long down the wing. He'll try and hoof it over to here and the centre back, so then we'll be challenging for a header, which is then why you need the defensive midfielder to win that second ball. The fullbacks, I don't bother with having any instructions on these guys. I think if you have tackle harder on them, you're probably going to be picking up quite a few cards. So, and with the opposite instructions, if you wanted to add tackle harder onto the fullbacks or something there, you could go for that. But again, just watch how many yellow cards your team's getting. It depends on your players really. If, how much they sort of concentrate their anticipation and stuff. If they're a little bit behind the play, they're more likely to pick up yellow cards if you're asking them to tackle harder. So it depends, what sort of level you're playing at. So then when it comes to the wingers, then what we're doing with them is we're actually going to show them onto the outside. So if they do, if it does get to the point where they've managed to get down to here, which quite often they will, these fullbacks then are going to come out and they're going to press the wingers, but they're going to try and force them outside rather than letting them sort of come inside there. So as you can see, an example of it in use then. So basically there's, the centre backs, my players just played a long ball forward, and their centre backs have just picked up the ball. So you can see now they're coming to there. So players will start moving up to them slightly. This player's almost ready to press. This guy's kind of marking here. The forward there is marked. This guy's out there, he's kind of on his own, so he's going to be ready to press any of these two if they come down that line. And again, he's not too close to this guy either. So these guys are kind of left as options. And he's not too far away. He's kind of like playing in between the two of these, and he's covering him as well. So most of these central players he's covered are not really options anymore. So as the ball comes there, he's kind of forced to actually just go wide, and straight away my player comes around. He's on top of the ball, hasn't really made a tackle. He just kind of kicks the ball as it goes loose, and that just goes straight into my striker who scores a goal. So it's quite. You're hitting them as instead of trying to hit them up here as they're trying to play out, you just let them play out a little bit, hit them there, and then I'm trying to sort of counter from these wide areas ideally. So another thing that could happen is it could come down to here. As he played then, instead of getting tackled, he would have just hit a ball across here or something. Hopefully my players here will sort of win the ball, or at least win a header. They've got a high sort of heading statistics. So if you go, so you can see then, you know, they do win a good amount of headers, the centre backs here in the middle, and even my full backs as well, winning quite a few. And then my defensive midfielder, about 4 every sort of 4 games. So this is more like the second balls, that there's, you know, the ball might get headed and then pinged again, and it's kind of sort of like pings around a little bit. But yeah, so, you know, I find it a good trap. You know, again, I'll use it on this one as well. I've already been through this tactic on another video, but again, with the same principles, we just close down more here. Nothing on these guys. These are closed down. This guy naturally closes down anyway, and he'll come more in his defensive midfielder area, and he'll close down more. So it's just all about, you know, close down more in the wide areas and up here, trying to force them out to here, and then just mark up in the middle. So yeah, hopefully it helps. Try it out. If you've got any other traps that you're using, let me know in the comments, and I'll sort of look into trying out them as well.